You're listening to BambinoBabble's story. Once upon a time, in a lush vineyard, there lived a clever and cunning fox. One sunny day, as the fox wandered through the vineyard, he caught sight of a beautiful bunch of ripe grapes hanging tantalizingly from a high vine. Their deep purple hue and glistening skin made the fox's mouth water with desire. Driven by his hunger, the fox leaped and jumped, trying to reach the luscious grapes, but they were just out of his grasp. Undeterred, he continued his attempts, using all his agility and cunning, but each time he fell short. After numerous failed attempts, the fox finally admitted defeat and sat down, panting and exhausted. As he rested beneath the vine, a surge of frustration and disappointment washed over him. In his frustration, he muttered, "Those grapes are probably sour anyway. I don't need them." He tried to convince himself that the grapes were not worth his effort, even though deep down, he knew they were tempting and delicious. The fox walked away from the vineyard with his head held high, pretending not to care about the grapes he couldn't reach. However, deep inside, he felt a sense of longing and regret. He couldn't let go of the desire for those sweet grapes, no matter how hard he tried to convince himself otherwise. Days turned into weeks, and the fox's desire for the grapes continued to gnaw at him. He couldn't shake off the thought of their tantalizing taste. The more he denied his longing, the stronger it grew. It consumed his every thought, driving him to return to the vineyard. With renewed determination, the fox devised a plan. He studied the vineyard, observing every detail and strategizing his approach. He knew he had to be clever and precise to reach the grapes this time. Gathering all his strength and focus, he made a mighty leap, stretching his body as far as it would go. But once again, the grapes eluded him. They were still out of reach, mocking his efforts. The fox landed with a thud, feeling a mix of disappointment, frustration, and a tinge of embarrassment. He had put all his energy into this one last attempt, only to fail once more. Defeated, the fox stared at the unreachable grapes, his heart heavy with longing. However, instead of letting his desire consume him, he had an awakening. He realized that his obsession with the grapes had clouded his judgment and blinded him to the beauty of the other fruits in the vineyard. With newfound clarity, the fox turned away from the grapes and started exploring the vineyard with fresh eyes. He discovered succulent berries, juicy plums, and delicious apples, all within his reach. As he tasted the various fruits, a sense of contentment washed over him. He no longer felt the need to possess the unattainable grapes. From that day forward, the fox learned an important lesson about acceptance and letting go. He understood that sometimes, things we desire may be out of reach, but it doesn't mean there aren't other joys to be found. He embraced the abundance of the vineyard and lived his life appreciating the fruits within his grasp. And so, the story of the fox and the grapes teaches us about the dangers of stubbornness and the importance of finding contentment in what we have. It reminds us to let go of unattainable desires and open our hearts to the possibilities that surround us.